The NHL free agency is the perfect place to take your team to the next level to compete for a Stanley Cup in the upcoming season. So what we're going to do today is look at the best unrestricted free agents remaining in the NHL today and see where they might just end up. I'm going to go off the list that NHL has of the top defensemen, forwards, and goaltenders, and we'll go through each player and then eventually choose a team for them to go to. Obviously, for defensemen, the big fish is going to be Matt Dumba from the Minnesota Wild. They got Nick Holden from the Ottawa Senators, just a depth defender. As a Sens fan, he's nothing to write home about, but he's serviceable. He can be there for depth if need be. For forwards, we got Patrice Bergeron, six-time Selke winner. He just won again this year. Patrick Kane, one of the most offensive-minded American-born hockey players ever to play the game of the NHL, so he's an absolute beauty. David Krejci, Zach Parise, Paul Stastny, Vladimir Tarasenko, Johnny Toews, and then for goaltenders, Yaroslav Halak, Martin Jones, and Alex Stalock. So we're going to go through each of these players and find a home for them. The first player we're going to look at here is defenseman Matt Dumba, 6 foot tall, 181 pounds. Actually, a little bit smaller than I thought he was. I thought he was a little bit bigger, but he plays big. His stats, they've been declining ever since he's had a breakout 50-point season, but 22 and 32 is a pretty damn good year as well. Then 24, 21 and 51, 27 in 57, and then last year didn't have that great of a year with only 14 points in 79 games, but 81 penalty minutes, so definitely roughing it up a little bit. 99 shots in 79 games, not enough. You got to shoot the puck a little bit more if you're going to score, and his last 4 seasons has not eclipsed the 10-goal mark once. So who would be looking for a player of Matt Dumba's caliber? He was the King Clancy Memorial Trophy winner in 2019-2020. So Matt Dumba, I think the 2 best spots for him are going to be, 1, the Buffalo Sabres, and number 2, I would say the San Jose Sharks. Once they get rid of Erik Karlsson, they're going to need someone to replace some of those minutes, and no one other than Matt Dumba would be a good replacement, especially for getting him for free. All you got to do is pay him in free agency, and then voila, you don't have to make a trade. So Matt Dumba to either San Jose or Buffalo would be my prediction. As for Nick Holden, I don't think it's a sweepstakes by any means. I think it's going to be a high-level team that picks him up for depth. Could be a team like the Colorado Avalanche. Maybe you have a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs. You can have a team like the Vegas Golden Knights. Teams that are up in that top echelon, I think, will be looking for Nick Holden's services as a good depth defender. And I would not be surprised if he didn't have a contract going into the regular season and then end up getting a contract towards the beginning of the year or in the middle of the year where there's some injuries. Next up, we're going to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Patrice Bergeron. And honestly, I think there's 2 options here. Number 1, you re-sign with the Boston Bruins on a league minimum deal or a small $1 million deal, something along those lines. Option number 2, you retire. To me, I can't see Patrice Bergeron anywhere but on the Boston Bruins. Look at his career stats, 1,040 points in 1,294 games, and he's just dominating. Every year, he just continues to put numbers. The only point of Patrice Bergeron is it's been 1, 2, I guess we'll count that basically a full season, but before that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years straight with a lot of injuries. Another one here, another one there. He is very injury prone, but he is one of the best players the Boston Bruins ever seen. Reliable Stanley Cup performer, and he puts together that first line of Pastrnak and Mr. David Pastrnak. I said that twice. Mr. Brad Marchand is what I meant to say. So in my opinion, for Patrice Bergeron, only 2 options. You're either going to retire a Boston Bruin or you got to go back to Boston. Look at his awards here. Leadership Award, NHL Foundation Player Award, 6-time Selke Trophy winner King Clancy, and a Stanley Cup champion to go along with it. Boston, you have to sign Bergeron. Next up, we got the American superstar Patty Kane, 5'10", 177 pounds, 1,237 points in 1,180 games. So over a point per game. You know exactly what you're getting with Patrick Kane coming onto your roster. Obviously, didn't have the greatest season last year with the Rangers. Only 12 points in 19 games. New system, got to get used to things, but still a pretty decent year there before, almost a point per game, but look at that, 92 and 78, 66 and 56. He's almost over a point per game almost every season. Said almost there twice, but we're going to keep rambling here. But I think there's 2 options for Patrick Kane. I think there's actually several. as we look at his stats here. Art Ross, he's got the Ted Lindsay, Hart Trophy, Conn Smythe, Calder, Stanley Cup 3 times. I think a couple options here. The first one, why not add him to the Yzer plan? The Stevie Yzer plan. He can go to Detroit and play with Alex DeBrincat, so he can team up once again with DeBrincat, where he helped DeBrincat score 40 goals 2 times, which wouldn't be a bad decision for either for the Detroit Red Wings or Patty Kane. Another decision or spot that they can go that's been rumored would be the Dallas Stars. I know he probably wants to win a Stanley Cup, so teams like Dallas would be in there. Seattle Kraken might be in there. It's all about the cap. Is he willing to sign for a little bit less? Is he looking for term? Is he looking for 1 year? I think the most fun move for him, as a Sens fan, this would suck, but him going over to the Detroit Red Wings to play with Alex DeBrincat. As for David Krejci, I kind of have the same boat with Patrice Bergeron, and it even says it here. He'd retire if he doesn't sign with Boston. I agree with that. Sign with Boston or retire. There's no point of playing for another team. David Krejci, you're a Boston Bruin just like Patrice Bergeron, so don't waste your time. Retire or sign with Boston on a cheap deal like you did last year. Zach Parise is another one, 38-year-old, where at this point, he hasn't decided if he's going to play next season, but if he does return, it'll likely be with the Islanders. So we're going to keep it at that. If he returns, he's most likely going to New York Islanders, unless, hear me out, maybe he goes back to the New Jersey Devils. That's my wild card. My wild card there, Zach Parise signs with the New Jersey Devils. Paul Stastny is another guy, one of the older players who can produce in the bottom 6 if need be and is responsible defensively. I think a good fit for Paul Stastny may even be, depending on the money, the Edmonton Oilers. Everyone knows Edmonton is star-studded. They got a great offense. Why spend money on another offensive player? But if you put it this way, he's 37. He's a little bit better defensively than what you have in your bottom 6 right now, especially after losing Klim Kostin. And he would be a great replacement for someone that you just traded away named Kyler Yamamoto. I think if you can get him on a league minimum, it wouldn't be a bad risk. And if he sucks, just get rid of him. Another good spot for Paul Stastny would be re-signing with the Carolina Hurricanes. Definitely one of the top teams in the league. I think that would be very helpful to them as well. He can go also back to the Colorado Avalanche, would be a fun one. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Next up, we have another one of the biggest fish, Vladimir Tarasenko, the Tarasenko Show. He's got 574 points in 675 games, 270 goals, takes a lot of shots, is a really good sniper. Last year, 21 points in 31 games, but only 8 goals. And the year before that, 10 goals. We need to get him back to that point where he's scoring 40, 39, 33, 33. There was a couple injuries in the process right here. And then in 2022, 2023, I believe he was injured for a little period of time. But Vladimir Tarasenko, nonetheless, one of the better snipers in the league. Only award he has is the Stanley Cup, saying only like it's nothing. But I think there's one spot for this guy. And it's my boys, the Ottawa Senators. They just got rid of Alex DeBrincat. They're looking for a sniper. I imagine he can sign somewhere in the $5 million range that Ottawa can afford for at least 1 year. So I think Ottawa will be one team to look out for the Tarasenko Show. For Johnny Toews, I hope he plays next season, but it's kind of seeming like he is going to retire. He is battling long-term effects of COVID-19. I know at one point he was linked to potentially playing with the Edmonton Oilers, where Duncan Keith finished a little bit of his career there, but I don't think Johnny Toews will be coming back, and if he does, he will not be returning to the Chicago Blackhawks, so I think he'd be a veteran leadership that can lead a team to the Stanley Cup, and honestly, if I'm the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm kicking tires on Johnny Toews. That's a leader that knows how to win, and you guys need a win, but I think Johnny Toews is going to retire. As for the 3 remaining goaltenders here, I don't think they're going to be signed in the immediate future. And if there was one to be signed first, I think it would be Martin Jones, just because he's younger than Halak and Stalock. But I think they're going to be saved for a little bit longer in the free agency period, just before the regular season or sometime during the regular season. Doesn't seem like any team is really in need of a goaltender right now. But, goaltenders get injured at all times. So these are all wild cards to me. I think they will all eventually get a contract. I don't think they're going to stay free agents for the entire year. But as of right now, I don't think there's a team looking to sign any of these 3 goaltenders. But if I were to go in order, I'd probably say Jones. And then I'd probably say Stalock and then Yaroslav Halak. Halak just at the end, just because he's the oldest, but he most likely would be the cheapest. But what do you think? Where are these players going? Where is Matt Dumba going? He's one of the bigger fish. Nick Holden, Patrice Bergeron, is he retiring? Is he returning to the Boston Bruins? Patty Kane, does he reunite with Alex DeBrincat in Detroit, or does he find a new home? Because obviously he's going to be signed, and that's going to be a big contract there. David Krejci, same situation as Patrice Bergeron. Is he going back to Boston, or is he retiring? Zach Parise, another same situation there. Is he going back to the Islanders, or wild card here, the New Jersey Devils? Paul Stastny, we talked about him again, helping out that bottom six, maybe potentially Edmonton, Carolina, Vegas, Dallas, any of those types of teams. Vladimir Tarasenko, linking him to the Ottawa Senators to replace Alex DeBrincat. Johnny Toews, unfortunately, we think he's going to retire, but if not, Edmonton, potentially. The Devils, potentially. Any young team that's looking to get over the hump, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he would be a great addition. And for the goaltenders, just kind of waiting till we see an injury or the regular season starts up. But let me know where you think everyone's going. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Peace.